I have a
That's
comment sent in here for you. So we've talked a lot about our mutual friend, Mr. Chuck Daly.
hey,
So
hey.
he sent in a long comment here. So
Uh-oh.
I'm going to read this to do it justice. He says, it took about 2 minutes of watching D perform in his band Chronic for all of us in the Salads to come to an agreement. He is our singer. Amazingly, our mutual friend Jesse connected us, and the rest is history. He has a unique gift of sharing himself with a crowd. When he's on stage smiling at the crowd, is completely infectious. He has the ability to connect with a huge crowd on a personal level. Everyone can feel his love, and it simply feels like a hang with your favorite friend. And I'm one of the uber lucky ones to say one of my most favorite things to do in the world is to hang with D, my most favorite of friends. D has a sense of rhythm that is far beyond my own sense of groove, too. Producing albums with him for so many years was such a gift. Touring Canada together has been such a gift. Having families and growing older together has been such a gift. D is a beautiful man and a wonderful friend and off the charts performer and musician. I sure do love me some Mr. D. That's from Chuck Daly, The Salads, and now I'm Mother Earth.
I didn't put my Kleenexes anywhere close by.
See, I made
Sorry, take
him
a
I
breather.
made him cry during our interview when he was reminiscing about the good times and his son being proud of him. And
Mm.
he said that it's the first time maybe in his whole life where he really sat down and thought about what he had accomplished and the challenges and the interview. And because of the pandemic where a lot of us are very lonely and we're not out there sharing our gift with the world, we don't feel a sense of there's a need for us anymore. And he got very teary-eyed during my interview with him. So this is payback maybe
Yeah,
to say some
motherfucker.
kind words to you. So
Well,
how does it feel having some kind words from someone that means a lot to you like that?
well, like I said, I don't want this to sound, well, I expected it, because that's not what it is. I know and I feel that, and I'm so thankful for. I mean, we often spill all those feelings after people pass away, but we've been very open among the Salads. That being said, we've not always been, the closest and tightest of brothers. Sometimes we just wanted to kill each other. But I guess that's what families are like too, and that's what a brotherly kind of relationships can be. I feel all that and more right back at Chuck. We've totally had our ups and downs, but we probably have the tightest relationship among uh, uh, two guys in the Salads, of any two guys in the Salads. And maybe that's partially due to us having getting married and having kids starting around the same time, or just being the kind of dudes that we are. I think maybe we tend to wear our hearts on our sleeve a little bit more than the other guys. Certainly with Dave. Dave does not have a heart on his sleeve. He's got a heart and it's big, but it's deep, deep, deep down there. It's a hard one to
And
find.
Chuck is very not, I don't want to say emo, that's a weird term, but Chuck is very
Emotive. He's
he's very upfront
yeah.
with his emotions. He's very in
Mm-hmm.
tune with how he feels.
Yeah, and maybe even more so now, as he's just to some new turns in life. I think maybe that can be said even for a lot of people in general, just because of the pandemic, making us focus on what we're missing and what we love and who we love and and who we've lost. We've lost a lot of people during this pandemic too, and I think there's been a lot of times where you're just you it's the worst feeling, having that regret. Say, I wish I had told somebody how much I love them. I wish I had said this to so and so. But to find those times is not always the easiest, or to find the words is difficult, and sometimes you don't find them until it's too late. So yeah, and again, like we've had some real downs and some real ups that we can't you can't deny any of that to as far as history and as far as our relationships go. It's all too much to let go, and yeah, we need to hold on to all that stuff. I love all the guys. I love Chuck like a brother. I love his family. It's so great seeing, we also so such a part of such big parts of each other's lives. Beyond all the music, like we were on tour with Biff Naked. Chuck may not have told you this, but we were on tour with Biff Naked out west during his first son's first birthday. What a brutal feeling. I was kind of like, I wouldn't do that, straight up. But he did that for us. And I can still see him sitting and by himself in the dressing room. I still see that vision exactly. I see the bench. It was like a hockey kind of a arena or something. So it was that kind of a setup in the dressing room. See the wooden bench and everything. I see him sitting there, and I think he showed me a pic. Or somebody on the tour bought him a cake to celebrate his son's birthday, and it was a bit bittersweet. Not the flavor of the cake, just the moment.
The cake was delicious, but
cake was a hella good chocolate cake, but the moment was bittersweet, and I felt his pain. And I wasn't even a father yet. I hadn't even married my wife yet, I don't think. But that's that kind of stuff. Those moments are really hard for musicians of our type, new fathers, new parents, especially if you're extra connected to that, and you're an extra emotional person. I think that's why Chuck and I have gotten so close and butted heads so many times, as we're emotional dudes. But that's also, I think, contributes to our creativity and what allows we allow that to come through in our music. We've allowed that to come through in our writing. And I'm thankful I'm thankful that I was mature enough and ready enough for, I struggled a little bit with allowing other members of the band to write lyrics for songs, because, you got your part to do. We each write our own parts, and it's easiest for me to sing my own lyrics, easiest for me to remember my own lyrics, and all that kind of stuff, because I know how it's delivered. I know how it felt, and whatever. That's my contribution. But by big picture, I started to, bring in more of other guys' stuff. And a song like Circles is a good example. That Chuck wrote that one lyrically and everything.
That's the last song on the third album, Big Picture, or on Music Every Day. Isn't it the last song on one of the albums?
It's on Big Picture, but it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 songs in.
Oh, near the end. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
the memory failing a little.
Hey, dude, me too. I had to check it out. That's why it's over my shoulder here.
Yeah. Wait, what album is it?
Yeah. And he wrote that song about his grandmother, who was struggling with Alzheimer's, and she was about to or had just passed away. And she was a very pivotal role in raising him during a great period of his youth, and taught him a lot of stuff. And for someone to look up to somebody, especially a family member, with such admiration because of the knowledge they have, to then to grow up and watch them lose all of that, and to sit in front of their house with them and they don't know where they are, kind of thing, is very emotional and traumatic, and it causes you to think of a lot of things. And that's what Circles is. And a lot of people who've been through that same situation have connected with that and thanked us for that. And I'm thankful that I, allowed Chuck to do that. And I'm thankful that he was open enough with me to be able to hand that over and let me sing his feelings, because that's a tough one to do as well too, from their perspective, I would imagine, as band members go. But yeah, that's I love that guy.
I was wondering why Circles was sounding so familiar, and I think actually during my interview with him, he mentioned that that's the best song he's ever written, or his favorite song.
Oh shit!
I think he actually touches on it, that it was the hardest to write, or the best song he's done, or his favorite, or so. I guess you guys both have a deep connection to that song.
Yeah. It was not a big hit, but something that stuck out for us because of, I guess, like he said, and like I said, that the effort and the new paths we had to sort of travel to make that happen. Yeah, for that one in particular.
Speaking of big hits, songs that you did have all over the radio, Get Loose, The Roth Kung Fu. Was that the first time that you heard your own music on the radio? And if so, or if not, what was it like hearing your own music on the radio?
Yeah, that definitely would have been. It would have been Get Loose for sure. Get Loose, a little bit of love for Who's That Cat for sure, because that video came out before Get Loose and got some rotation on Much Music because of our EP. And then we re-recorded it, a newer version for Full Day to Be. It was later on in the album, but the first single from Full Day to Be, yeah, was Get Loose, and that was obviously the first thing that really took off for us, because watching that kind of kick off from our home ground territory at 102.1 at the Edge, thanks to our brother Martin Streak, rest in peace, and guys like George Strombolopoulos, who was there as well at the same time, and also a good friend of ours. But really, Martin and brother Bill, who was working there too, and he went out west. Yeah, they took that under their wing, and then every other rock radio station across the country started picking it up, and then licensing into Labatt's Blue commercials during the hockey playoffs. So it was like that annoying commercial that played 3 times a commercial break, and then even more because it became a bit of a battle between Labatt's and what we assumed was Molson. They're only two big competitors in the beer industry, because the only vocal that was left in from the song, the very tail line, "Come on, everybody, get loose tonight." Well, that's insinuating getting drunk and partying and intoxicated, and that is illegal as far as the alcohol industry goes. In more formal terms, Labatt's received lawsuit in that nature because of that. So that it's something they're used to. It's a pissing match back and forth between their competitors. So they pull the vocals and put a version out. Didn't change anything for us or even me. I don't care, whatever. I'm not on the commercial anymore. People know the song. My vocals aren't on there. People know the song. They know what it is. Like I said, it's being pounded into their heads 3 times a commercial break. Doesn't change anything really for us. And not all the state, even though the new commercial version without my vocals has gone out to stations and radio stations and TV stations, not all of them are replacing that. It's not their responsibility. There's whatever, we'll do it if we can. So there's a mix of the commercial. It was kind of a fun game to play every time it came on. It's like, this is the one that has me on it, or is it not? But that was a trip. And then I also have very fond memories. I think it was a trip hearing on the radio and having other people call me and be like, "I'm hearing the radio right now. Listen, I hear on the radio." That was a trip, but the one that really, really, really sticks out, I think, because of the moment and physically seeing people. Martin Streak used to DJ at the Phoenix and do a rock night there before he had continued that over at the Sound Academy. It was a massive Friday night live thing there that was live to air. The Phoenix would be packed to capacity every Friday night with college kids bouncing around to the latest hits on the Edge, and then some. Him diving deeper into Martin's love was like the Clash, and he would be deep into a lot of metal and punk stuff that they couldn't play on the radio, or that they wouldn't play on the radio, but was still clearly obviously massive at that time. You know what I mean? Like, there's always tunes that you're like, why isn't this on the radio? Everybody loves this, and this band's selling concerts. He would be playing a lot of that stuff, or just having his ear to the ground, and again being able to be somebody pivotal enough to bring a band like the Salads to the attention of these folks. So, and continued to be a supporter once we were on the station. I'll never forget going to one of those nights, him bringing us up to the loft and the DJ booth there. I remember crouching down, him like, "We're gonna smoke a joint up here." I'm like, "What?" At that time, not cool. It was,
bueno.
You could smoke inside, like cigarettes were being smoked inside clubs still at this time. So it wasn't like, the only cloud of smoke coming from the one spot, but we were the only people up on this balcony DJ booth thing up above everybody. I never forget him being like, "Listen, blaze a little bit of a shine on, having some drinks, and he's gonna drop, get loose. Watch this. Drops it. The crowd just went mental and losing their mind. And then he starts talking about how me and I was either with Chuck or Grant, but me and another guy in the Salads were up here, and the people are freaking out and going mental. That one stuck out really hard because, I think the physical memory, the visual memory is still there. Seeing folks, that many people lose it, and I don't know that we had even performed to a crowd that was that familiar with that song at that time yet. I'm not sure, but that, yeah, for whatever reason, that one really sticks out. And from Martin was just like a really dear friend, a huge supporter of our band, singing praises nonstop, and to people that mattered, that eventually like, oh yeah, this band is cool. Oh, we can be the first one to play this or whatever. And everybody wanted to be the first one to play it. After that, just hearing and watching all of that unfold was a trip for sure, definitely. And being, nominated for Much Music Video Awards. And now we're going to the awards on the red carpet, and
Casbahs and some other awards.
Yeah, lots of Casbah awards, shows, not receiving awards, but nominated and going to the shows and performing at them. Yeah, big memories. We performed at a Casbah Awards with a David Lee Roth impersonator, and the venue is big enough, people are far enough back to think that it actually was David Lee Roth, and that was the talk of the town afterwards. Did you see the Salads perform with David Lee Roth? What? They didn't. He looked like him. He's an impersonator, like right down to the full jumpsuit, tight white and red jumpsuit and long blonde hair, and brought his girlfriend out in a bikini chugging from a Jack Daniels bottle. What the hell?
Oh, he went all the way.
Yeah. Oh, he was the real deal. And that's why we hired him and got him to sing Hot for Teacher with us, which was, again, just another fun, great big move, a moment in some shows that we've done in history. And it's super fun. I love all that stuff.
It's already been about a decade since the last Salads album. Is there any chance for a reunion, whether it's some live shows or new music? What do you think? Is there any hope left for us Salads fans listening to this episode?
Again, timing is everything for everything in life. And had you asked me that question 2 weeks ago, I would have had a very different answer. Because this past week that we just went through involved an old dear friend of ours. So see, first of all, let me back up a little bit. Salads as a family and crew, myself, Stratford, Chuck's in like the Prince Edward County area, but still the closest guy to me, although many hours away, still in Ontario. Libido is in Toronto. But Pfeiffer's in LA, Grant's out on the west coast of Canada, and Dave is sometimes in Ontario, but mostly in Florida. So really all over the place. And that hasn't always seen it's a fine line to ride, I find, between being passionate about a project and the acceptance of it coming to an end. When do you be like, okay, it's done, instead of trying to keep pushing, keep talking about records, keep writing songs for it, keep thinking of what the next show is going to be, what the next move is going to be. That's a daily mindset that longtime musicians have to, or I found anyways, I had to shake my head out of it. Chuck would be a great example of that, as he's transitioned into the world of real estate during this pandemic. He's had the biggest shakeup because he depended on touring solely, and that completely got cut from his life cold turkey. So it's a bit different for me, but again, to get back and answer your question, I would have said hell no 2 weeks ago. But in the last week, we've had an old dear friend who's a promoter that has booked a lot of really memorable, fun shows with us, reach out and be like, is it possible for reunion? Because I got this and this and this, and this place will be really fun with this band. And we're all like,
We're
oh,
planting the seeds here, my friend.
so while I'm like, he's like, is it possible? While I'm like, I'm just one guy. I can't say yay or nay for anybody but myself. So I take that information here, guys, put it out there. What do you think? Is this crazy or is it not crazy? And everybody said, that sounds like fun. I'd be in. The next step is working schedules out and logistics of it all, which becomes a clusterfuck sometimes, or it can be simple. Like some of the best songs bands write, and I'm waiting for that moment for it to be simple, to come together, to show me that it was meant to be, to happen still. But we've taken the first step of everybody's in and would love to see each other again. Money's not an issue, while it is for travel, because we've got guys out of the country. Or the flights, some flights would need to be covered, and accommodations and so forth, to be realistic. But it's not out of the question. Recording new music to release, that seems a little bit more far-fetched. But again,
yeah,
stranger things have happened.
So you're saying there's a chance.
We're all so
it's
used
one
to
in
it.
a million. You're saying there's a chance.
You know what I in this transition for me of not playing shows with the Salads anymore, because that has been, I really struggle with that, because that is, our stage show for me has been, over the years, has been very therapeutic and very, it's like, that's I'm not a big like sporty guy and working out all the time kind of stuff, and that was like my mental and physical exercise was shows. So without that, I'm a little bit lost and looking for that outlet again. I can't wait to step on the stage with those guys. I'm a little bit scared in the sense of, being so excited I might hurt myself. But
I have to have a good stretch before you go
exactly. Lots of water, lots of stretch, good treads on the shoes, and know my space, because I'm gonna go mental. But yeah, I can see a show, maybe two. If one happens, be like, well, we should do the next day over here then too. But it will be when it feels right, when the show all totally makes sense, when we know the right people are going to be there.
Maybe some bigger festivals would be good, because they're usually well paying, which makes it worth your time,
Yeah. It was a few things we have in mind. Yeah, it feels more like it could happen. But what I'm also doing, again, what I've been focusing more on in this time is preserving our legacy as well too, so people don't forget.